A 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody. If you're here, that means you survived the bloodbath that is Steelers free agency. If you're here, you survived that horrible West Virginia loss. Happy Monday, everybody. It's H&J Talk Sports. I'm half your host, Joe Riggy, and this man of the hour over here, the man of every hour, Harry Baxter. Harry, what a week.
Hi, everybody. Well, what can we
I don't know where to
say?
start. There's been a lot going on. Of course,
The wound,
WVU.
the wounds are still raw.
Very raw. Before we get
How's
into
it?
that, let's talk some football because the Steelers owned this week, I feel like. It's been a very up and down week, too. Monday's emotions were different than Thursday's emotions, are different than Friday's. Let's get this out of the way. JuJu Smith-Schuster is going to be a Steeler. You called it 2 weeks ago. You said you thought he was staying.
Yeah, he signed a 1-year deal. I think a lot of that had to do with the salary cap going down for this next year, and then I think after that, he's going to test free agency. And he feels like he can get more money. It's good. It works out both ways.
Yeah, if he has a bigger year, and Steelers too, another benefit, they have a lot more money next year to sign him. So, but before we get too much into JuJu, let's just start at the beginning because a lot happened this week. So day one of free agency, Dupree to the Titans. We kind of knew he was going to go. I hate seeing him go to the Titans.
We expected that. I think a lot of people felt he was going to go. He got paid. Good
He
for
did
him.
get paid. I would like to see him leave the AFC though.
Yeah, it'd be better if he was out of the AFC, but
Yeah.
I got nothing against him. He played well when he was here. He was good. I gotta get that money. It's generational wealth.
Generational wealth. You got that right.
Hey, if you're in the NFL, you gotta make as much as you can while you can.
Yeah. I mean, we knew he was going to leave. It's still, I felt like I felt this more than a lot of other players, and we'll get into that. Let's go over a few of these other ones first, because I think my feelings are based on the overall offseason. Cam Sutton, someone the Steelers did bring back. So that's a good signing. And I think they signed him to maybe step up and replace Mike Hilton, because Mike Hilton went to the Bengals. Another in-division signing. So
Well,
a lot of people think he won't be as good without Joe Hayden next to him. Still hate to see him in Cincinnati.
yeah, he was a good player. He was great. I think we'll find another. He wasn't game changing. He was solid.
He was
didn't really
streaky.
come
He had
up with
ups
a lot
and
of
downs. He has games where he was really good, and he had a lot of games where he was laying on the field.
Yeah, he was coached up. He was a good player. I mean, it's all right. It's not gonna. It doesn't. I don't think it's a huge dent to the defense. I think losing Bud Dupree's way bigger. And
Much bigger. And big chance for Cam Sutton to step up here, too.
yeah, corner's a place we needed to get some help anyway. So
Yeah. Zach Banner, my man, is back. I felt like he was going to be back because that man loves Pittsburgh more than anybody. And they brought him back. I think that's he was doing really good. Unfortunately, he only played, I don't know how many games this year. He got injured really early. He may have only played 2 or 3 games. So I'm excited to see a full season, hopefully, of Zach Banner. A big shock for me, I think a lot of people expected it to free up some cap, was terminating Vince Williams.
he was a good player. I mean, he wasn't. He's not a superstar, but he was a loyal guy.
He was very loyal. He's another player that I feel like really represents Steeler football.
Yeah, I like him.
And that one hurt me too.
But he had a big cap hit with him, so
yeah,
it was necessary.
It's just tough because he was a Steeler. I felt like he's one of those players that really represents Steeler defense. He's obviously, like you said, he's not a superstar, but I feel like he's a great part of that defense. Probably great in the locker room. That's tough. Yeah, that's a tough one. And finally, Steve Nelson was given permission to seek a trade, which was kind of shocking.
I'd heard rumors that he was going to do that he wanted to.
That's interesting. And I don't know. I've seen different stories on it. I've seen some people say it was to free up cap for JuJu, and the Steelers just gave him permission before they cut him. Yeah. Some people say it was him requesting it. I don't know what the story is, but that was kind of shocking to me.
Yeah, free agency. It's fun. Let's see. Hopefully we get more players. Hopefully we can get somebody.
Again, if you're watching us today, you survived the bloodbath because especially defense, every day someone's leaving. Vince Williams gets cut. Steven Nelson, permission to seek trade. What the heck?
Yeah. Steelers don't normally make a lot of moves in free agency, so my bar isn't set very high, but it'd be nice to see us grab somebody.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not shocking. This is what they do. It just hurts to see everyone walk away, which is kind of like what I was talking about with Bud Dupree, how I felt it more than I felt free agents in the past. I don't think it's necessarily Bud Dupree. I think it's like when you think of great Steeler defenses, I felt like we got a lot of years, like that defense in the early 2000s, Troy Polamalu, Joey Porter. I feel like we were watching those guys for almost a decade. And it feels like with this defense, we just got good for like 2 or 3 years, and then now everyone's leaving.
Outside linebackers have been big. We've had good ones over and over. And then all the teams that we've had that have made the Super Bowl, and we've had good outside linebackers.
Good outside linebackers, but I felt like we got to watch that team in the early 2000s forever. Like I felt we watched Troy, Joey Porter, James Harrison, a decade it felt like. I don't know how long it actually was, but this team just got good 2 years ago.
TJ Watt and Bud Dupree were the next great combo,
and it only lasted. That's what hurts the most. It feels like we just got good Steelers defense again, and now we don't know what it's going to be next year.
Money talks.
Money does talk.
And the Steelers have had cap issues for a while, and this is when it hits them. They can't offer the same as other teams.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure, some of these guys, I'm sure if Bud Dupree would have got a similar offer from the Steelers, he was staying.
Yeah, he would stay. That's true.
But
that's kind of shocking to me too, because I feel like there's a lot of teams that are really stacked and are spending money. I mean, the Patriots, of course, the Patriots didn't have anybody this year. The Patriots are out here like Oprah. Everyone in the audience gets a contract.
Steelers had a lot of years where they restructured a lot of contracts, and you restructure the contracts, you put the salaries or the signing bonuses and stuff on the back end, and now that time's got to come when
you get good.
Eventually, you got to have it. I mean, we had years when we were stacked, when we had Le'Veon, Antonio Brown, Big Band. Our offensive line was definitely Pouncey, Villanueva, Castro. I mean, on and on.
But unfortunately, our defense was struggling those years.
The defense wasn't the best. The defense was getting older. And now they got a good defense, but the offense, got to put it together, get offense and defense.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. So I guess the big news then, which we said, JuJu, the fire the odds, is back in Pittsburgh. You said you thought he'd be back. I thought he was at the door for sure. I was 99% he's gone.
I don't believe a lot of the media. They create a lot of controversy for nothing.
Well, yeah, but it's even with the, he was liking, like you pointed out last time, the tweet about him not being in Pittsburgh. His Twitch stream said free man. It did not look like a man that was coming back.
The word was he had a $11 million offer around there from Kansas City and like a $14 million offer, or $13 million offer from the Ravens. And he turned them down. He came back. And I think they were
Patrick Mahomes and more money to come back to Pittsburgh.
Well, I think that was a multi-year deal, and he turned it down because he feels like he can get more when the salary cap is higher.
I don't know. I think I have to double check. I think the KC and Ravens were both 1 year as well.
Were they? I don't think Ravens was.
Philly gave him a multi-year deal, which he turned down.
Maybe, but oh well. I don't blame him. Good. I would have disliked him if he went to Baltimore. Kansas City,
that would have been bad. Kansas City as a wide receiver, that's tough to turn down, you'd think.
Yeah, but he's not going to be the top guy there.
No, but
Tyreek, I think Miko Hardman, he's up and coming. He's going to be a big guy.
Is he the top guy in Pittsburgh?
I don't know.
Pittsburgh's kind of offense by committee, at least last year. No one really stepped
Claypool
up.
And was coming on big.
Deontay Johnson.
He
was the number one guy before he got hurt.
Those two were out playing.
Yeah.
JuJu.
JuJu's a tough down guy, though. He's the guy you go to when no one else can get the ball.
Make it, make some plays. Get big, get yourself more money, have a great year.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting, like I said, these young wide receivers look good last year. It could be a big year for the offense again. And then the defense, we don't know what we got because a lot of people walked. Big chance for people to step up. Be interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, hey, opportunities to step up for other players, new players.
Yeah. Also, they signed minor note Joe, I think Haig is how you say his name.
Yeah.
Offensive line, who's famous for dropping that pass in the Super Bowl. His claim to fame.
Yeah.
So who's available though? Free agency is definitely signed down. We might see a lot of teams waiting to draft before any of these other guys really start getting signed. Who else could you put on the Steelers' radar?
I don't know. I think a lot of the big time guys are out. The Patriots made a lot of moves.
A lot of
free
moves.
agency.
Richard Sherman probably too expensive,
He's kind of older.
and he's
I
old.
think he's similar like Joe Hayden.
Villanueva still free agent.
Yeah.
T.Y. Hilton too expensive.
Deshaun Jackson just signed with the Rams. He was an older guy, but he was a decent. He's a kind of big play receiver. Somebody we could have used. Vertical threat. But he's probably too expensive. We're limited. I think looking at the draft. I don't know. We're not going to spend a lot of money on wide receiver.
Wide receiver's good.
Done.
We need running back.
Corners.
Adrian Peterson's still out there.
Still hoping.
I wouldn't mind it to see him in maybe a draft. Le'Veon Bell, still out there.
Come home.
Could he be looking at a cheap 1-year deal?
Hey, I think he should. He's got a good opportunity if he wants to come back here.
Yeah. We got no one right now. So he was not the number one guy in KC. He didn't get a lot of time from what I saw when I watched him. Hey, Larry Fitzgerald, an old guy who could come in and help out the wide receivers.
He's not going to do anything for you.
No. I always wanted to see him in Pittsburgh for some reason.
In his prime days, he's not going to do much for you now.
Hey, I can have hope. Yeah, not a lot. I guess we're looking to the draft. Gonna need some defense. Gonna need a running back.
Yeah.
I think free agency's chilled out. We'll see what happens this week, though. I don't know. No defense.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We got what? A month till the draft? A little over a month to the draft?
Yeah, we're getting close now.
Yeah. April 29th.
I need some football in my life. It feels like it's been 10 years already.
That's kind of exciting when that all happens.
Well, that's the Steelers bloodbath. Now for the West Virginia fans.
It's that time.
Ugh.
That was rough.
Let me zip this up.
That was rough.
For you, those of you who don't know, we record this on Sunday. So we're just a couple hours removed from that.
It's fresh.
The wounds are fresh. Shocking. I mean, we kind of thought along with a lot of other people that Sweet 16 was almost guaranteed this year.
You would think the way they played, it's like they didn't expect to see a 2-3 zone. Not that Syracuse runs the 2-3 zone every year, every game. And we used to be in the same conference for 20 years. We would think we'd never seen it. I mean, goodness.
What was going on?
Terrible first half. Made a little run at the end of the first half to get back in the game. Played good and started to figure it out. But wow, I mean, that was not good.
I almost thought they would come back. And I lost my voice a little bit on that comeback in the second half.
Well, they took the lead.
They tied it up. Yeah, they were up by 1 or 2. And then
Syracuse started switching Boeheim on McNeil and taking advantage of that. Boeheim's, he's a baller. He's tough. He's 6'6", and West Virginia was switching off every pick, and they were creating the matchups they wanted, and he just went to work.
And hitting threes all day. I've never seen so many threes in my life.
Yeah, he was clutch.
Every shot, you're like, how can it keep going in?
He got up there. What did he finish with? 25 points. I mean, he had the first half. He had like 6, I think. He didn't do much, and then he just went off. Culver, he was disappointing. He's first team Big 12. He finished with 7 points.
Disappointing tournament altogether. He didn't do much the last game.
They return everybody though, but that's not the way you want to end the year. I think they needed to at least get to the Sweet 16. And Illinois lost today, which opened the door. I think a lot of people that had done brackets and a lot of the experts had supposedly picked Illinois to beat West Virginia, and Illinois got upset today by Loyola.
A lot of upsets early.
But, I mean, you can't start like that. Syracuse was up by 14 in the first half.
Yeah. It was ridiculous. And then you can never come back. And then they came back, and it's like every time they got there, Syracuse just came back and put up 2 threes. West Virginia couldn't hit layups, easy layups. They couldn't hit
McNeil. I mean, McNeil was hot.
McNeil had a series there,
in the game.
And that's when West Virginia came back, where he hit probably 4 threes in a row. And I mean far threes. He was way out, and he was just making it look easy.
Yeah.
But then they switched up on him, and he stopped hitting them, and then they couldn't hit anything. And then Syracuse runs up 10 points again.
The zone kind of it took McBride out of the game. He's a good ISO. He's a good one-on-one player.
Mm-hmm.
He finished with 11 points. He was playing good on defense. He was all
defense
over the guys.
Didn't look bad, surprisingly, even though
we gave
ran
up a
up
lot of threes.
It was the threes, really. The outside shots were nonstop.
They shot great from 3. What did they finish with from 3? It was something crazy.
I'm going to say their inside defense didn't look bad at all. And I felt like, especially when they got on those runs, they did a great job. But
I guess they shot 45% from 3 and we shot 42. Didn't feel like that.
It didn't feel like that. I don't know. We hit a lot of threes too. There was no inside play, especially in that late second half. You couldn't even do anything.
Culver, they were taking a lot of bad shots against that zone.
They were.
They just could not figure it out. And Syracuse was really long and causing a lot of problems. And that's what happened. I mean.
So, and I hate to be that guy, because West Virginia loves Bob Huggins. We were just talking about him should be in the Hall of Fame. But isn't this, I feel like in any other sport, you would call this a coaching issue.
I think he got outcoached. I still think he's a great coach. I think he went up against second in wins among active coaches right now.
But he's been coaching a long time too. Is that a padded stat?
No, he's a good coach.
He's a good coach, but
he turned Cincinnati into a Final Four.
Is he good enough?
He took West Virginia to a Final Four team.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good coach. He got outcoached.
What have you done for me lately? To quote Eddie Murphy, what have you done for me lately, Eddie?
But he went up against a guy who has even more wins than him. He's coached USA. He was an assistant on the USA team. He's won national championships.
And the only reason I bring this up, because this seems like a West Virginia thing every year.
It does.
We're good, and this is the year, and then big game upset.
Well, I mentioned it. I don't know if it was our first episode or second episode when I talked about. I think it was last week, and I said the basketball team. They played the top 5 teams tough, playing a battle, and they play teams 20 and up tough, and you can't do that because you're going to get caught.
Yeah,
you can't win 6 or 5, even maybe 4. I mean, just drag them out in battles like this. And
for sure, they got caught.
They were West Virginia was the superior team on paper, and they got beat.
Yeah, I mean,
next year they're going to have a lot of hype.
To even make it out of the first round, and now they're Sweet 16.
They got hot. I mean,
but
a couple weeks ago they were questioning if they were even going to get in the tournament.
So I'm saying you got to give Syracuse credit because they played a really good game.
They did.
So it's not all West Virginia shooting himself in the foot. They played a great game. So you got to
think if they play like that, they can win the region.
I mean, if they look like they look tonight, that was a really good game.
To me, they would be my pick to get to the. I don't know. I gotta watch more. I gotta see. Right now, Houston or Syracuse. That game will be a good game.
If they play like they played today, I'd say Elite Eight at least.
At least, I think if they beat Houston, they'll get to the Final Four.
I could see
Houston's got to win. Houston plays tonight. We'll see. They got a good chance.
Yeah. My interest is gone though. I don't care anymore. I'm out of March Madness until probably the Final Four.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's it with me. On to football.
Just gone.
Yeah. Nothing going on in football this week though for West Virginia.
Spring practice is starting soon. So
practices, some scrimmages coming up. That's exciting.
More on that. We'll see what develops.
I think late March, so in a couple of weeks, we should have some recruits making their final decision. So maybe next week we'll know something. Hopefully they come to West Virginia. Be nice to land a QB off the board.
We'll see. Be a good QB competition this spring.
Could be. Especially if we get someone better. Pittsburgh Penguins.
Pens.
Last time we talked about that Boston series, and they ended up splitting it 1-1.
Damn.
I don't hate it. You'd like to see him take 2 or at least get 3 points, maybe take a game to overtime.
But what about that New Jersey series that you said New Jersey sucks?
New Jersey does suck. We got a lot of injuries right now, and it's hurting. It was very apparent today.
You were pretty optimistic on the Pens last week.
I'm less optimistic.
Really good.
It's a roller coaster.
They went what? 2-3 this week?
Yeah. 1, 2, and 3.
Split Boston, lost 2 out of 3 to New Jersey.
Lost 1 out of 2, or 1 out of 3. Lost 2 to New Jersey. Today's game went to overtime, so at least they got a point. They got 3 points out of it, so that's not horrible. That's actually pretty good, especially since you're not competing with a playoff spot for New Jersey because they're way out of it. So you'll take those 3 points in the division.
You can't lose that game. You got to win those.
You do.
You got to win that series.
There's a lot of injuries, which, like I talked about last time, the schedule for Pittsburgh looks pretty great. But now with the injuries, it's going to be tough. Malkin out long-term, week to week. He could be out for most of the season.
That's good if he comes back for the playoffs.
He'll be back for the playoffs.
He can be rested.
I don't get the feeling that it was that long-term. So he'll definitely be back.
With these older guys, it's not a bad thing.
I feel like all these injuries. So you got Malkin out, Teddy Bluger out, Zucker's been out for a while. Their top 6 is depleted. Who else is out? Tanev's out. So this exposed Pittsburgh's problem. Completely healthy. They're looking really good. Their top 6 is solid. They're getting above average goaltending. Their defense looks good. Their fourth line is trash. It's trash.
It's got to be next guy up. You
could get rid of everyone on your fourth line and it wouldn't make a difference. So when you have these injuries, it exposes a bigger issue of depth where now Malkin's out, Tanev's out, Bluger's out. You have nobody down the middle and you have nobody that can score goals because you got.
Let's be optimistic. Let's give these guys a chance. Now they get to play.
They've had their chance. Better. So trade deadline coming up. You need some depth.
Man is done. He's done.
The chance is gone. Jankowski, who they brought in to be their third line center, and during the course of the season, he's moved down to the fourth line center, is garbage. They gave him his shot. He's no good. He's got 2 goals all year. It's unacceptable.
You're so quick to write people off.
They're not bad, but here's the thing, though. They're actually not horrible players. Two-way players, they're good. They're good defensively. They're not making bad errors that's costing the team, but they can't score. No one on the fourth line is scoring goals. And when you have depth issues, here's where it's an issue. If you have injuries and in the playoffs. In the playoffs, you need a fourth line that can contribute because you're going to have 1-goal games, 1-0, 2-0, and you need goals from your lineup sporadically. And when you got injuries like Malkin's out and you got to bump your centers up, we saw today against New Jersey. No one can score but the Crosby line.
Your back's against the wall. You got to make an adjustment. You got to get better.
But that kind of changes this easy schedule we have because now with the injuries, a schedule that looked easy, you already saw who struggled against New Jersey. You have Buffalo. which is I still feel good about because Buffalo's like fourth lines. They're all garbage. So you can still beat Buffalo with this depleted lineup. You should take both those games. The only reason Buffalo scares me is because they lost so much. You feel like they got to win a game eventually. Hopefully it's not against Pittsburgh. Then you got the Islanders. The Islanders are tough. They've had good games against Pittsburgh, a lot of overtimes. And then I believe you have Boston again. With this lineup, I don't think you beat Boston. So this lineup that I felt good about last week, the schedule doesn't look so good anymore.
Week by week. Let's see. Maybe these guys can get some time, improve.
No, get rid of them. Trade them. Trade deadline's coming up. So we got the NFL draft in April, NHL trade deadline. We need a fourth line. Dump the fourth line, the whole fourth line. I don't see any of them in the lineup anymore. Sam Lafferty, Jankowski, Colton Sevier, or however you say his name, who's done nothing all year. Get him out.
Pressure's on. Prove Joe wrong.
Prove Joe wrong. They won't.
Have a good week. And
They
let's
won't.
bring this up next week.
Crosby will have a good week. Crosby's lines look fantastic. And it's a shame Malkin got hurt because before he went out, that line looked fantastic.
Yeah.
So when the Penguins are healthy, they're very good. But who knows what we're going to get now.
Keep battling. Excuse me.
H&J Talk Sports on Twitter and Instagram. And subscribe on YouTube.
West Virginia, you're killing us. This is supposed to be our prediction for next week.
This is a part of the show where we're going to predict Elite Eight, Final Four. And now
What's wrong with you?
cut our show short, really, West Virginia. This is your fault. We would have had a nice discussion about where we see West Virginia placing.
We're all ready.
Rest of the bracket.
We were ready to be excited.
I was really ready to be excited. I don't watch a lot of basketball, and I was getting into it. I almost lost my voice in that second half. And now I don't get to watch anymore. So it's very disappointing. So who wins the March Madness then? Since we can't predict West Virginia, does Gonzaga take it? Can anybody beat Gonzaga?
Baylor. I like Baylor and Gonzaga. Those two. If I had to pick right now, if I had to pick one of those two, I'd pick Baylor. We're getting hot at the right time.
So what's the Final Four?
The Final Four? Put me on the spot.
Yep.
Well, I like Gonzaga. I like Baylor. I'm going to go Syracuse. I might be biased. That might be because it's fresh.
Hey, if they play like they played today.
That might be, I don't know. I don't know who to pick in this other region. So we got Baylor, we got Gonzaga, Syracuse. Man, I thought Texas was going to be good. They got upset.
Yeah.
That last bracket, I don't know, Michigan. Whoever comes out of that bracket's going to lose to Gonzaga.
Oh, 100%.
Then Gonzaga, Baylor.
Gonzaga, Baylor, Final Four, and you're feeling Baylor right now.
I'm feeling Baylor.
Yeah, it looks like Michigan, doesn't it? Huh?
Go Big 12.
Iowa, go Big 12. H&J Talk Sports on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube. Hey, also, guess what, Harry?
What?
Did you know if you wanted to, you could listen to H&J Talk Sports on Spotify and
Good.
Google Podcasts and all your
I would
other
do that.
favorite podcast platforms.
Can I think of a better way to spend 45 minutes during the week?
Probably not 45 minutes because of West Virginia losing, but 30 minutes maybe. But if you wake up and you're like, man, I love that show, but I can't sit and watch it right now. Pop it on Spotify on your way to work or in your headphones while you're working out, while you're eating, whatever you're doing. And I think that's it.
Guys, next week. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. Like the man said. See you next week, Monday, 12 o'clock. Have a good week.
Thanks, everybody.